Hey, scandal chasers, grab your rosaries and your wine. Did you know that in 1503 the Pope's corpse swelled so grotesquely that carpenters had to hammer it sideways into a too small coffin? While cardinals fled Rome, whispering he'd been poisoned by his own son. Welcome to the ultimate deep dive, Pope Alexander VI's reign of scandal. Over the next half hour, we'll follow Rodrigo Borgia from a sun-drenched Spanish cathedral to the throne of St. Peter. Watch him crown teenage relatives, cardinals, throw orgies inside the apostolic palace, and ignite wars that redrew Italy's map, all while chroniclers scratched feverish Latin into their diaries. The truth is wilder than any Netflix drama. Picture Valencia, 1431. A baby cries in a stone house, flying the Borgia bull. Rodrigo de Borgia, spelled with the Catalan J, learns early that the church is the fastest ladder out of provincial obscurity. His uncle, Pope Calixtus III, yanks him up rung by rung, protonotary at 25, cardinal at 26. Eyewitnesses say the boy already spoke 4 languages and could quote Virgil while dicing with merchants. Fast forward to 1492. 4 popes have died in 8 years. The Sistine Chapel reeks of sweat, candle smoke, and fear. Johann Burchard, the German master of ceremonies, records in his diary that Rodrigo slips purses heavy with gold ducats and promises of castles to wavering cardinals. One old man reportedly received 4 mules laden with silver just to change his vote. When the doors finally swing open on August 11th, white smoke curls above St. Peter's. The Spaniard, now Latinized as Borgia, steps onto the balcony as Alexander VI. Rome erupts in cheers laced with sarcasm. We've elected a pope, not a king, yet. Subscribe to the channel and ring that bell. We drop deep dives into the history. Alexander doesn't just want power. He wants a dynasty that will outlive the Medici, the Sforza, even the Colonna. He openly acknowledges 4 children with his Roman mistress, Vanazza Catone, Juan, the golden boy, Cesare, the restless genius, Lucrezia, the golden-haired pawn, and little Geoffrey, barely a footnote. Vatican ledgers show him creating cardinals faster than most popes create indulgences. 12 new red hats in his first year alone, including a cousin aged 14 and a nephew who could barely sign his name. One chronicler sneered, "The Borgia bull now grazes in the College of Cardinals." Lucrezia, barely 13, becomes the family's most valuable chess piece. In June 1493, she marries Giovanni Sforza, Lord of Pesaro, amid torchlight, fountains running with wine, and a dowry of 31,000 gold ducats. The contract is signed in blood-red ink. 4 years later, Alexander annuls the marriage on grounds of non-consummation. Giovanni flees for his life on a stolen horse, shouting to anyone who listen that the Pope wants his daughter back for a richer alliance. He isn't wrong. Meanwhile, Cesare, restless, brilliant, ruthless, chafes in his cardinal's robes like a wolf in silk. A letter survives from 1497. "I would rather be a prince with a sword than a priest with a crozier." Alexander steps up and asks King Charles VIII of France to free Cesare from his holy orders, marking a rare moment in history. The ink is barely dry before Cesare is riding north in cloth vogue, gold, negotiating French cannons and a bride from the royal house of Navarre. October 30th, 1501. The Apostolic Palace glows with 1,000 candles. Johann Burchard's diary entry is so explicit that later Vatican scribes tried to erase it with ink and prayer. 50 courtesans, Rome's most expensive, arrive after Vespers. Servants scatter roasted chestnuts across the marble floor of the Sala dei Pontifici. The women disrobe, crawl on hands and knees, gathering nuts between their teeth, while cardinals, bishops, and foreign ambassadors place bets. Alexander watches from the papal throne, laughing, a cup of sweet Malmsey in hand. Burchard notes the prizes: silk tunics, jeweled rings, and nights of pleasure with the winners. Was it real? The diary is first-hand, corroborated by 3 separate ambassadorial reports smuggled to Milan, Venice, and Florence. One Venetian wrote, "The Pope himself counted the chestnuts." Modern historians debate the numbers, 50, 30, but not the event. It becomes the single most infamous soiree in papal history, whispered in confessionals and shouted in taverns for centuries. June 14, 1497, dawn breaks over the Tiber. Fishermen drag a corpse from the muddy water, throat slashed ear to ear, 9 stab wounds in the chest, pockets stuffed with stones. It's Juan Borgia, the Pope's favorite son, Duke of Gandia, still wearing his ducal chain. Alexander collapses in grief, locking himself in the Castel Sant'Angelo for 3 days. He emerges hollow-eyed, vowing to reform the church. Then, silence. No investigation, no arrests. Rome whispers that Cesare, jealous of his brother's military command, ordered the kill. A satirical pasquinade nailed to the statue of Pasquino reads, "Cesare wanted the duchy. Now he has it, and Juan has the river." 2 years later, another in-law turns up dead. Alfonso of Aragon, Lucrezia's second husband, is strangled in his bed while recovering from a street ambush by masked men. Lucrezia, 7 months pregnant, locks herself in a convent and weeps until her eyes swell shut. Cesare rides in from the Romagna campaigns, shrugs, and tells the Venetian ambassador, "What is done is done." Alexander isn't content with spiritual dominion. He wants central Italy under the Borgia bull. He hires Leonardo da Vinci to design mobile siege cannons, excommunicates recalcitrant barons with a wave of his ringed hand, and unleashes Cesare on the Romagna. Town after town falls like dominoes. Imola, Forac, Faenza, Caterina Sforza, the Tiger of Forac, spits defiance from her castle walls. "I have the heart of a man." Caesare's artillery reduces the walls to rubble in 9 days. Captured, she's paraded through Rome in a golden cage, while the crowd pelts her with roses and rotten fruit. Machiavelli, watching the triumph from a balcony, scribbles the first drafts of The Prince. It is better to be feared than loved. He dedicates the book to Cesare years later, after the Borgias fall. While Cesare carves his kingdom, a friar in Florence preaches hellfire. Girolamo Savonarola calls Alexander the scourge of God and a wolf in shepherd's clothing. He orders the bonfire of the vanities, piles of wigs, dice, paintings, and books burned in the Piazza della Signoria. Alexander bribes a cardinal's hat, then threats, then excommunication. Savonarola keeps preaching. In May 1498, the Pope authorizes his arrest. The friar is tortured on the rack until his shoulders dislocate, then hanged and burned in the same piazza where he lit his bonfires. His ashes are tossed into the Arno, so no relic remains. Florence mourns in black. Rome celebrates with fireworks. August 6, 1503. Alexander and Cesare dine at Cardinal Adriano Castellisi's vineyard outside Rome. The wine is sweet, the air thick with jasmine. By nightfall, both are vomiting blood. The cantarella arsenic, mixed with animal fat, works fast. Alexander lingers 12 agonizing days. Burchard records the horror. The body blackens, the tongue swells until it splits the mouth. Fluid oozes from every orifice. The stench drives mourners from the room. Workmen saw the coffin narrower to wedge the corpse inside. Cesare, younger and stronger, survives but loses his beauty to syphilis scars that pock his once handsome face. Without Alexander's protection, the Borgia Empire crumbles overnight. Cesare is imprisoned by the new pope, Julius II, the warrior who commissions Michelangelo's Sistine ceiling. Lucrezia, now Duchess of Ferrara, reinvents herself as a patron of poets, dying respectably in 1519. The Vatican scrubs the Borgia apartments. Pinturicchio's frescoes are whitewashed, records sealed in lead chests. Later, writers spread wild rumors about incest, baby sacrifices, and devil deals. They claim Alexander slept with Lucrezia, that Cesare poisoned cardinals with cantarella-laced wine, that the Vatican ran on blood and gold. Modern scholarship sifts fact from fiction. No hard evidence of incest, but mountains of proof for simony, nepotism, and violence. The Borgias become the original crime family, inspiring Victor Hugo, Alexander Dumas, and The Godfather. Yet they also drag the papacy into the Renaissance. Alexander's bull Inter Caetera divides the New World between Spain and Portugal. Columbus sails under his blessing. His patronage fills the Vatican with Raphael prototypes and Michelangelo sketches. Corruption and genius share the same table. So, could a modern Borgia rise again? Swap cardinal votes for dark money PACs, orgies for private islands, and you're not far off. The lesson isn't that the Borgias were uniquely evil. It's that power vacuums breed ambition, and ambition writes its own gospel. What do you think? Did Cesare poison his father to seize control, or was it a tragic misfire meant for someone else? Like if your jaw hit the floor, and subscribe to the channel. Drop your theory in the comments. Like if your jaw hit the floor. For more deep dives into the deliciously dark corners of the past. See you then, scandal chasers. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and never trust a smiling cardinal.